Decades ago, the auto racing world sought to separate man from machine. The answer was IROC. Equal and matched cars, meticulously prepared to race, but with the mechanical advantage eliminated. Only the driver remains. IROC is a celebration of champions. 12 of the finest from 5 different disciplines race on 4 different tracks. It's the International Race of Champions. And today it's the 4th and final round of IROC 21 at Michigan Speedway. Today will determine the IROC champion. The drivers sit in their cars now waiting for the start. The Pontiacs have gotten better and better with every race this season and predict a very close battle here today. The 12 that started at Daytona months ago are now ready to make the final effort to determine who will in fact be the IROC champion. The fight for the championship itself has come down to a battle from 3 different disciplines, from the Winston Cup Series, from the Kart IndyCar Series, and from the Score Off-Road Trophy Series. There's the top of the order. Mark Martin from Winston Cup, Robbie Gordon from the Score Off-Road Series, and Al Unser Jr., the contenders. Here's Jackaroo.
Well, it's down to these 3 drivers that have any hope of winning the championship for IROC 21. Mark Martin leads the points, Robbie Gordon second, and of course Al Unser Jr. in third. And Al, first question to you is a victory is going to be the only shot you've got?
It is the only shot we got, and we'll just we'll go out and try to mix it up with these 2 guys and see if they give me a break or not.
Robbie Gordon, you had to have a fill-in at California. Bobby Labonte did a heck of a job for you, keep you as a runner-up.
Yeah, he did a great job. I mean, if he could just beat Mark, you know, that would have been a couple more points our way. But, you know, I think for us, you know, you're going to have to come out and win today to catch up with Mark. He's done a good job. He's been consistent all year. And, you know, it's going to be important to be smooth and hopefully lead some laps.
Mark is second at Daytona and then back-to-back victories in IROC. Can you repeat as the champion?
Well, I don't know. You know, this could be a big disappointment. You know, if we lost this thing today, it would break your heart with a 19-point lead. But it can happen. Both these guys can win this race, and they can lead the most laps. And if they do that, and I can't get through traffic, then I won't win. You know, they will. So, you know, we're going to have to give them, you know, we're going to have to go out and race for it, too.
And, Paul, to make matters worse, all 3 of them have to come from the back of the field.
Well, and Jack, there's one other thing that's going to really affect this race today. It is hot here, very hot. Temperatures soaring into the 90s. Now, let's consider the personalities of the 3 who are running for the championship. Mark Martin, of course, is having a great year. He's physically fit, he's focused, he's enjoying himself, and he knows that at the end of this day, he can be the first man ever to score 3 IROC championships, and he can do it easily. Then there's Robbie Gordon, who can be a little crazy at times. He's had a terrible year in Winston Cup. His IRL effort has not gone well. This would be a chance to legitimatize his racing efforts this year and keep his portfolio active, but he's going to have to drive very hard to do it. And then there's Al Unser Jr., who has much the same scenario as Robbie. He's not done very well at all in the past 2 years. He does very well here at Michigan, and he has practiced for this race. So he, too, would love to come up with an IROC championship at the end of the day. It would be very meaningful to him. The good news for all of us, we have onboard cameras on all 3 of those cars. Now, let's send you over to Benny Parsons.
Getting the Pontiac Firebirds around Michigan Speedway at top speed, it's critical that all 4 tires work equally. The mechanics do that with springs, shocks, aerodynamics. But the driver's line, how he drives through the corner, that's critical in keeping those 4 tires equal. Mark Martin, Robbie Gordon, Al Unser Jr., as they rush through the field, they've got to be careful not to abuse one of those tires. If they heat the right front, the air pressure inside the tire builds up, the tire starts sliding across the racetrack. That could cost them a lot of money before the day is over.
All right, Benny, here's the way they line up. In reverse order of the point standings, on the front row from Kart is Alex Zanardi, car 12. That's his position in the points. Darrell Waltrip from Winston Cup will start alongside. Then Dale Jarrett from NASCAR Winston Cup, and Tom Kendall, who's having a great year in the SCCA Trans Am Series. In row number 3, the reigning kart champion, Jimmy Vasser. He's a rookie to the IROC. And Dale Earnhardt from Winston Cup, the 7-time Winston Cup champion. The 4th row, Randy LaJoie, a rookie to the IROC from the Busch Series. And Jeff Gordon from the Winston Cup Series. The 5th row, Terry Labonte, the reigning Winston Cup champion, and Al Unser Jr., one of the contenders. And in the 6th and final row, Robbie Gordon from the Score Off-Road Series and Mark Martin from Winston Cup. There have been power failures here at the Michigan Speedway in the past hour, and they're still trying to repair much of it, so we're not going to have the kind of camera coverage we normally see. Green flag comes out. Zanardi way ahead of Darrell Waltrip on the start.
What a start. If this was a Saturday night race, they probably would not start the race, but this is IROC. Now it's important that Mark Martin, Al Unser Jr., Robbie Gordon get through the field as quickly as possible. Look at LaJoy on the inside going by cars as Mark Martin tries to follow Al Unser Jr. There's Darrell Waltrip going to the back.
And the three contenders right together here. The green car, Al Unser Jr. just ahead. There's the red car of Robbie Gordon, and you were watching from Mark Martin's car. Zanardi leads it. Waltrip fell way back coming off of turn 2.
Once again, we'll follow Mark Martin as Jeff Gordon is going backwards. That's the gold car right in front of Mark Martin. And Alex Zanardi will lead the first lap.
So as they complete the first lap with Zanardi out in front, the battle for the championship remains mired back in the field. They try to come forward, but it's just not working now.
That's Dale Jarrett on the outside in the orange car. White car is Tommy Kendall.
Tommy Kendall has been very racy on the super speedways. You drop back with Al Unser Jr., the green car, trying to find racing room to come up this field.
Jimmy Vassar and LaJoy dives to the inside of Al Unser Jr.
Back at the front of the field, it's still Zanardi. Jarrett comes up into second place. Kendall is down low. Vassar is high as they battle for third.
Al Unser Jr., Robbie Gordon side by side as they try to get to the front to win the IROC championship. Look at 3 abreast down in turn 1, and LaJoy will take over third spot.
So as Randy LaJoy moves into third, here comes a move by Jarrett. He comes very easily around Zanardi and picks up the lead. You watch from Robbie Gordon's car now as he's still trying to come up through this field. There was Zanardi off to the right. Gordon is coming forward.
And Zanardi still losing spots, goes from leading one lap, is currently running in 7th spot. And here comes LaJoy for the lead. Oh, contact between Jarrett and LaJoy.
LaJoy comes up, taps the back end of Jarrett's car. Kendall tucks in behind LaJoy. And so the battle at the front is LaJoy. Robbie Gordon now moves into second place, followed by Tommy Kendall.
The International Race of Champions on ABC Sports, brought to you by the legendary Firebird Trans Am from Pontiac, Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. Nothing outperforms Mobil 1. Wendy's Smoky Bacon Cheeseburger with rich smoky flavor in every bite. And True Value, official hardware store of IROC and garages everywhere.
Back in Michigan, the International Race of Champions, the battle is at second place, and it involves one of our contenders. You ride with Robbie Gordon as he fights with Tommy Kendall.
And as these two cars ride side by side, the leader, Randy LaJoy, just driving away.
In the meantime, the pole sitter, Alex Zanardi, is headed for the pits. Here's Jack.
The problem is a right rear tire on Alex Zanardi. He signaled to the crew, and they have gone to work. Now, Zanardi will not receive a penalty for this, but he is under green flag conditions on pit road. They give him the go-ahead to change the tire, but this will be costly to Alex Zanardi.
2 Goodyear Racing Eagles off, 2 brand new ones on, but Zanardi has fallen well behind. There's that battle for the championship. The yellow car is Mark Martin, Al Unser Jr., and the green car up alongside of him. You watch from Martin's car.
3 abreast going down in turn 1. Robbie Gordon is up battling for the second spot. There we see Robbie Gordon alongside Tommy Kendall.
This is a battle for second place. And Kendall is able on the backside to force a little bit ahead of Gordon, but they've been side by side for 2 laps.
And once again, as they ride side by side, the leader is driving away.
Here's the view from Al Unser Jr. Mark Martin up ahead of him, now beginning to carve his way through traffic.
He blows by Dale Jarrett, and here comes Al Unser Jr. by Jarrett.
Now, Darrell Waltrip is headed down to the pit road as well as the battle continues for the championship. We go down to the pits and Jack Arute.
For For Darrell Waltrip, also a problem. Again, the team goes to the right side as the IROC mechanics check the left side tires. But the culprit, again, seems to be on the right side. So the IROC officials will make a change on Darrell Waltrip's car. But he, too, will have to find himself in danger of going a lap down.
So, Benny, as you suggested, tires have become critical. 2 cars have stopped for right side.
And Robbie Gordon currently in second spot. Mark Martin has worked his way to third, and Al Unser Jr. in fourth. The 3 guys trying to win the championship running right together. But Mark Martin, if he can stay there, will be the IROC champion for 1997.
Al Unser Jr. pulls the high line, trying to contest that. Randy LaJoie running away from this field. This is the battle, second, third, and fourth, and it is the fight for the championship.
If these 3 cars should stay in line, as we look out of Robbie Gordon's car back to Mark Martin, if these 3 cars will stay in line, maybe they can run down the leader, Randy LaJoie.
The look back from Robbie's car into the high bank here at Michigan.
Al Unser Jr. ducks down, looks like he wants to get by Mark Martin, not able to do it.
Again, Unser Jr. pokes his nose down below Mark Martin as they come across the start-finish line.
And that's all Mark Martin wants to do is stay right there where he is and go home the champion.
It's more like he's looking to see where he might be able to do something later. He does something here unless Mark Martin really falls backwards. The championship is in his hand. But there it is, the battle for the IROC championship. Gordon, Martin, and Al Unser Jr. 3-way battle for second place.
As we widen out, we will see the leader, Randy LaJoie, as he comes off turn 4. There's the distance between the lead and second spot. Dale Jarrett back in the 5th spot.
Boy, but this battle shows you just how close these Pontiac Firebirds are. If they want to eliminate the mechanical advantage and make them all equal, they have done that, while at the same time they've made them very good performers on the racetrack. Remember the pole sitter, Zanardi, in for a change of tires? Have they found the problem yet, Jack?
Examination by the IROC officials has shown the problem with Alex Zanardi's car was indeed on the right rear. A small cut caused the problem, but Alex Zanardi had the wherewithal to come onto pit road and get this tire changed. That never ceases to amaze me, guys, that a driver can tell when pressure begins to leak out of a tire and come in for assistance.
NASCAR Winston Cup mechanics use air pressure as a tool to make the cars handle. They will change the air pressure 1 pound at a time, and it will make the car different. Imagine what Zanardi would feel when he loses 2 or 3 pounds of air pressure. The Pontiac Firebird would immediately go away.
The battle for the championship continues. Gordon, Mark Martin, Al Unser Jr. in the green car. A 3-way battle for second place behind Randy LaJoie. Now Al Unser Jr. begins a move on Mark Martin. On the backstretch, boy, just drives past him.
But Paul, that pass doesn't concern Martin. He is still the champion if he can stay where he is.
Well, the fight for the championship continues, but Mark Martin is a little more comfortable. Now, they put out the black flag, but Jackaroo 2 cars answered it.
The black flag was displayed to Darrell Waltrip, but Alex Zanardi came in to have his tires examined as well. But the key was for Darrell Waltrip to come in and have additional service on his car. Evidently, the IROC mechanics did not find anything wrong on the right side tires, and now Waltrip is trying to tell him that possibly it's on the left side. Zanardi speeds away, and now after an inspection, so does Darrell Waltrip.
So Randy LaJoie is still the leader, and the championship is yet to be determined. Back in Michigan, the 4th final race of IROC 21. You ride on board with Dale Earnhardt, who is mired back in 9th place right now. The fight for the championship is sitting up there in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And the leader still Randy LaJoie. Took the lead on lap 3, has led every lap since, and continues to sit out in front of the guys vying for the championship.
The view down as the field heads into turn number 3. The red car, Robbie Gordon. The green car, Al Unser Jr. The yellow car, Mark Martin. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. You got a glimpse for a moment there of what look. Well, there it is again. It's Darrell Waltrip, and he's on the pit road.
And a great battle for... This is Robbie Gordon as he looks back at Al Unser Jr. That is Mark Martin back in 4th spot. We're right alongside the 2nd place car.
Randy LaJoie is the leader of the race. He picked up the lead in the early going and seemed to pull away from the field. Al Unser Jr. and Robbie Gordon both have their work cut out for them. They really must win this thing, while at the same time, something terrible must happen to Mark Martin. He has to fall below 8th place. Otherwise, he will be the champion at the end of this day, and he's looking very strong right now.
There's Alex Zanardi about to be lapped, has been lapped by LaJoie. Now Robbie Gordon goes by.
Back with Mark Martin now. We'll take you all the way around this magnificent Michigan Speedway, riding with Mark Martin. As he comes past Zanardi, Zanardi's got some serious problems.
And Mark Martin is letting the car drift up, trying to be very, very easy on those tires.
Wait a minute, let me write it down so I can get on the web and check out what's going on at IROC.
Turn 3, Mark Martin goes in the corner. High, drifts down to the white line. Now let the car go back out across the racetrack. Counting his money if he can just sit there, stay there in 4th spot. Robbie Gordon, Al Unser Jr. have to lead a lap if they're to beat him, Mark Martin, for the championship.
And Mark Martin is just the man for this kind of job because he is so focused, so self-disciplined that he would not be enticed by getting up, as you saw a couple of laps ago when Al Unser Jr. came around. Mark just said, no reason at all to go up there and fight it. I know exactly what I need to come out of this race as the champion. Randy LaJoie a full second ahead of the 2nd place car of Robbie Gordon, that red car right now.
And right now, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, not been contested at all. Robbie Gordon pulling away from Al Unser Jr., who's getting some distance on Mark Martin. But here Martin's problems continue as the field is catching up with him. That's Dale Jarrett. Tommy Kendall, the white car on the inside.
And Jimmy Vassar was the cream-colored car. 17 laps now complete. Alex Zanardi has pulled into the pits. You look from Dale Earnhardt, well in the back of the field.
Earnhardt comes off the corner, closes up, but not able to get a run.
And if Mark Martin can only stay where he is, he has the chance to make history as a 3-time champion of the International Race of Champions. There you see first, now 2nd and 3rd, Robbie Gordon and Al Unser Jr. Well, Alex Zanardi out of the run, now with Jack Arute.
Well, Alex Zanardi's day is over in IROC competition. He already had a cut tire, came onto pit road, had service for that, and now, Alex, the car just wasn't handling.
No, there is a reason. We got a flat right away, and now I think I got another one. I was wondering whether maybe the bodywork is touching the car or something. So, I mean, I'm sorry for the fans, but you know, it's too dangerous to ride with a flat tire.
The tough part for Alex Zanardi is it's been a difficult inaugural year of IROC competition, but your impressions now, despite all of the problems, did you have fun?
Yeah, I had fun. I'm just sorry for the mechanics, the boys, and Jay Signore. Gave me a great opportunity. I didn't pay them off really well, but hey, I did my best anyway.
He's not talking about giving them money. Alex Zanardi said, I didn't win for the privilege of driving an IROC. He didn't pay off the mechanic. The payoff was not winning.
Out on the track now, Tommy Kendall on the move. He came around Dale Jarrett just seconds ago. Kendall, who comes out of the SCCA Trans Am Series and is well accustomed to sedans, is looking so strong here and has been throughout his IROC career.
Currently running in 5th spot right behind Mark Martin as we watch Kendall close up on the back of Mark Martin. And he's making a pass, going by on the outside. Mark Martin drifting back one more spot.
Again, Mark Martin playing it very careful, though I don't think he wants to drift much further backwards, but still, his championship is safe if he can stay up here near the front. At the front right now, it is still Randy LaJoie out of the Busch Series, followed by Robbie Gordon and Al Unser Jr., our 2 other contenders in the battle for the IROC championship. We'll have more from Michigan, IROC 21, the 4th and final run. Back at Michigan, 21 laps complete, 50 laps the scheduled distance for this the fourth and final run of the International Race of Champions, edition number 21. You look back from Robbie Gordon's car. He is beginning now to pick up a bit of momentum. Al Unser Jr. closes in as well as they try to surge toward the front.
Randy LaJoie still the leader, but as you said, these second and third place cars are getting just a little bit closer.
The smartest thing that they can do, because they have a similar background coming out of an IndyCar history, is get together and at least work with one another until they can force themselves in the lead. That white car is Tom Kendall, who is closing in as well.
And you can see that Robbie Gordon has closed the gap between himself and Randy LaJoie. At least half, has closed in about half the distance.
There's Mark Martin. And Mark Martin is in trouble as Jarrett comes around him. And Dale Jarrett puts Mark Martin one position further back. Now Martin could be in danger.
We see Earnhardt and Terry Labonte side by side as they follow Jimmy Vasser into the third corner.
Mark Martin, what is so critical for him is finishing at least up in the front of the field. We're coming to a critical juncture too, though, because as Randy LaJoie rolls off laps in the lead, once he rolls off the most, he will pick up 5 points as bonus for leading the most laps. And that really has the effect of subtracting points that Mark Martin could be earning.
That's exactly right. Robbie Gordon, the earlier he can get to the front, the better off he would be. There's Al Unser Jr., the green car on the left, Tommy Kendall, white car on the right.
Oh, Kendall really beginning to work on him now as they come down the backstretch, head into turn 3. Tom Kendall would just love to win one of these IROC events. He has been very close. Could today be that day? They talk about how important an IROC win is to your overall portfolio as a race driver. So now we have completed the halfway point, the 25th lap, 50 miles, and Randy LaJoie continues to dominate this race, though at the moment the second and third place cars, now the fourth place car of Tommy Kendall, are beginning to close on the leader.
Randy LaJoie took the lead on the third lap, has now led 22 laps. And I know Mark Martin right now is sitting back there in about 7th spot, rooting, cheering for LaJoie to stay in front.
But you really have to wonder about Mark Martin. He is focused, he is disciplined. Did he let him go and decide I'll keep that position because I'm safe here, or is he in trouble?
Looks like that Mark Martin's car is going away just a little bit.
Again, at the top of the show, you mentioned tires. Are we at that point?
We are at that point. Exactly. As Tommy Kendall running the high line through the corner, closes up on the back bumper of Al Unser Jr. Yes, if the car, if they're going to have trouble after 25 laps, they will have those problems. The tires will start heating up, and the car, how it's set, will start having trouble with either right front, right rear. But Kendall using the high line to his advantage.
Jay Signori of the IROC and Jim Souter, who's one of the test drivers in the IROC series, both say, though, that if you just get out of the fight a little bit for a while, your tires will come back. They also point out that if you get the car out of the position right behind the car in front of you, that also helps in terms of overall performance.
That is aerodynamics. As you follow these cars, as they block the air and you lose the downforce on the front of your car, then that will affect the handling on these Pontiac Firebirds.
The kart champion Jimmy Vasser has come on to pit road. He is out of this run. Fight continues up toward the front as Robbie Gordon tries to overhaul the leader of the race, Randy LaJoie. Now, what was wrong with Jimmy Vasser? Perhaps Jack Arute can give us those answers. Jack?
Well, Jimmy, what happened?
The handling got a little bit funny on me. Started getting pretty loose. I just want to take a chance to hurt myself for this afternoon. You know, if I was running up front more or less, but you know, we got 500 miles to run here.
Jimmy, what have you learned in IROC competition that maybe you didn't know before you got the bid?
I learned a lot more about drafting, which you don't get too much in Indy cars.
Well, good luck to you.
Thanks.
Vasser beginning to worry about his 500-mile kart race a little later this afternoon. Randy LaJoie still the leader. The battle heats up at the front. Randy LaJoie is very definitely now being challenged by Robbie Gordon, the red car. Al Unser Jr., the green car, going high. followed by the white car of Tommy Kendall.
And Tommy Kendall, the white car, might have the fastest car on the racetrack. If he can get by these two cars, I think he could compete with Randy LaJoie.
In the meantime, we're coming very close to determining the IROC champion. Randy LaJoie has picked up 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. You can't take that away from him, but he is taking those away from Mark Martin. Al Unser Jr., Robbie Gordon, they're trying to pull a position so they can gain points, but very shortly here, with Jimmy Vasser and his kart teammate Alex Zanardi out of the run, Mark Martin could wrap up the championship. It's very close and teetering right now.
And be a 3-time IROC champion, the first in the history of IROC. And this is the 21st IROC series.
6th place, though, is a bit of a precipitous position. I mean, if he falls back much further, then he could be in very serious trouble, and this car may not be operating right.
He's not closing toward the front.
Mark Martin, will he come up with the championship? Everybody furiously scribbling now, trying to figure out the possibilities with the bonus points going away as to what Mark Martin now needs to come away as the champion. One of those checking it is Jack Arute.
You know, no one would blame you if you began to wonder whether Mark Martin has a problem or not with his race car. But remember this point. Martin is a guy that looks at the points and knows just exactly what it takes to win a championship. He did it last year. Going into this race, he had it all figured out as well. For Mark Martin, he knows that if he stays right where he is, he's clinched that championship. And that's all that's important to Mark Martin. Back-to-back IROC championships.
Well, he's very close to that at this moment, but take a look at Dale Jarrett, the orange car. He works the high line up alongside of Tommy Kendall. That's a battle for 4th.
Just a few laps ago, I said Tommy Kendall might have the fastest car on the racetrack, and now it looks like that Dale Jarrett has the fastest car. 4th spot, there's a leader, Randy LaJoie, the purple car.
At the same time, that is a tight fight up at the front between Randy LaJoie, Al Unser Jr., and the red car of Robbie Gordon. And now check this out. We've done the computations. 3 cars are out of the race. Randy LaJoie has picked up the bonus points for leading the most laps. And you know what that means? Mark Martin has done it. 3 times an IROC champion. You remember last year he had to drive so hard to pick up the points to finish this championship? Well, right now, the man in that yellow Pontiac Firebird, he is the IROC champion.
But still, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all those spots being contested. And the farther you can finish up front, the better chance you have of finishing up close to the front. Randy LaJoie, as a matter of fact, if he can stay there, could probably close into 3rd or 4th spot in the final point standings.
And look at Randy LaJoie in front, but look further back to that orange car, 4th place, Dale Jarrett, after he came around Tommy Kendall. He's really closing up on Al Unser Jr. At the same time, you saw Terry Labonte closing on Kendall.
Looks like that Mark Martin is doing his math. It looks like he's figured out that he is the champion. He's just going to stay out there, ride, and take home the money tonight.
Well, our power problems here at Michigan continue to plague us. We're actually running some equipment some of the time, and right now it has taken out our onboard camera coverage. So we do apologize for that, and you can bet they're struggling down there trying to get all of the power back online before this race is over.
Dale Jarrett, there's the first 4 cars. LaJoie, Robbie Gordon, Al Unser Jr., Dale Jarrett. And Paul, now every pass is for the money.
When we came into this run, 4th through 11th place, still undecided. And they're trying to decide it right now.
If LaJoie can stay there, he is making himself some serious money today. Winning the race, bonus points, he could move up for a great payday in the IROC series.
And that would be meaningful for a guy like Randy LaJoie to come out of the Busch series, get nominated and accepted into the IROC, and score a victory in his very first year. Jarrett working on Unser Jr. Boy, this is a good fight now.
Jarrett now getting behind Unser Jr., losing the air, the downforce on the nose of his Pontiac, making the car want to push as he comes off the corner. Well, look at all three of those cars right on the white line through the corner. LaJoie, meanwhile, in the middle of the racetrack. And Tommy Kendall is coming back.
Oh, this whole thing is tightening up. Kendall is back. At the same time, Mark Martin is closing, and Terry Labonte is closing on Mark Martin. So we have a fight continuing in race number 4 of IROC 21 at Michigan Speedway. Back at Michigan Speedway, the IROC champion determined, but I don't think anybody in the field has figured that out yet. We've got some good racing developing at the front. It seems like they were saving tires, and now they recognize the closing approach of the end of the race, and they are ready to go racing. Look at Dale Jarrett, the orange car. He moves the high line on Al Unser Jr. Jr. on the backstretch, drifts out, blocks him.
Junior's trying to stay there. All these drivers realize a position now could mean extra money at the payoff window.
And look at this battle as it brings Al Unser Jr. forward onto the rear bumper of Robbie Gordon's car. It also gives a slight advantage to Randy LaJoie within this last lap, but everybody else, they're lined up and ready to do battle.
Robbie Gordon, the red car, had closed in on the violet car of Randy LaJoie. Now he's fallen back, has lost 3 or 4 car lengths. And Dale Jarrett right on the back bumper of Junior.
Yeah, Jarrett moved right in behind Al Unser Jr. and loosened up the back end as they came between 1 and 2. Now they're back single file once again, but everybody is there and in the fight.
8 cars, nose to tail.
Look at Kendall. Kendall, the white car, comes down to work on Jarrett.
Can't make the pass. The 9th car still in the race. Jeff Gordon about a half lap down to these 8 cars.
And Mark Martin now being challenged by Terry Labonte. At the same time, he closes up on Kendall. Robbie Gordon still holding on to second place and once again begins to inch forward on our leader, Randy LaJoie. Battle for third now. Jarrett working on Unser Jr.
Once again, trying that high line, trying to get a run off the corner. If he does get a run, it will mean something about here. Did not get the run on Unser Jr. he was looking for.
Jarrett's been using a technique of dropping off of Unser Jr. going into 3. This time he stayed with him and is working a little higher line. But Jr. is well aware of his presence, makes the car a little bit wider. Now Jarrett comes down low. Tommy Kendall picks Jarrett up. Al Unser Jr. says, I'm not staying high on that one.
We can see that Al Unser Jr., the green car, driving very defensively in these final stages of the race.
But you know, all of that driving is getting Unser Jr. and Jarrett a little closer to Robbie Gordon, working the 42nd lap.
And here goes Jarrett on the outside. He will take over 3rd spot. So put Dale Jarrett from NASCAR in 3rd, Al Unser Jr. from kart back and forth. And look at, here comes Kendall.
Tommy Kendall comes up to work on Al Unser Jr. Maybe little Al in that fight pushed the tires just a little too hard.
And Terry Labonte, the blue car, is going by Mark Martin on the outside. But Mark Martin's going to get the big paycheck at the window this afternoon. He doesn't care if Terry Labonte goes by. He might even move over and let Dale Earnhardt go by.
Yeah, but at this point, it doesn't really matter for Mark Martin. He could even crash at this point. Not that you'd like to see something like that, but he could and still come away as the champion. He's got that locked up. But look at this group on the backstretch. LaJoie, Gordon, Jarrett now, then Al Unser Jr.
And we've talked about Randy LaJoie, an invitation to the NASCAR Busch Series, how he'd love to be the IROC winner this afternoon.
And look at the race order: the Busch Series, the Score Off-Road Series, the Winston Cup Series, the Kart IndyCar Series, and then Tommy Kendall representing the SCCA Trans Am Series battles with the reigning Winston Cup champion. Look at the fight for second.
Robbie Gordon has been there most of the afternoon. Dale Jarrett has slowly worked his way up to 3rd spot. Closes in, trying to get a run on Robbie Gordon. Winding down, laps are running out. And Jarrett, what a run he got in the corner that time. Drives up on the outside of Robbie Gordon.
Same thing that he pulled with Unser Jr. It worked then. Looks like it's going to work again, but boy, he was so close to that wall. Now the momentum picks up for him, and Jarrett slides into second place ahead of Robbie Gordon, but Gordon says, I'm coming back. Oh, they touch.
Swapped a little paint going down in turn one as Robbie Gordon made a great move to maintain that second spot.
So Robbie Gordon takes second place back. Here comes Al Unser Jr., but on the backstretch, they begin to settle down. Junior's not going to get a run. And that gives us time for our true value, mechanics of racing.
With the conclusion of the 21st edition of the International Race of Champions today, you may wonder, what do the crews and what do the drivers go through during the off-season? Well, they don't take a vacation. They actually use the time to further develop a racing package that's even more evenly prepared. Now, we've seen the offshoot of that in the past with the development of rear spoiler areas, front air dams, side view mirrors, and even the changeover from hot air boxes to cold air boxes. But in 1998, the IROC mechanics will be dealing with an entirely new front-end design on the Pontiac Firebirds. If you want to get a good close look at it, go to your local car dealer and you'll see the passenger car version. The front air induction scoops on the passenger car will now have to be dealt with, which means there'll be additional bubbles across what was once a very smooth hood line. Most importantly, in the back area behind the front tire are two rear exhaust scoops. Those too will take some aerodynamic designing to compensate for the air escaping from behind the tire. Now, in order to get ahead of the curve, the IROC mechanics bolted a couple of these front ends on a couple of the cars and tested while they've been here at Michigan. Now, what will the end result be? We won't know until we unveil IROC 22 in Daytona.
And of course, during the winter, the committee meets and decides who will be issued an invitation to IROC 22. Well, Randy LaJoie looking very strong here, representing the Busch Series, followed by Gordon and Jarrett. We'll be back. Don't forget, Thursday, ABC Sports will broadcast Holyfield versus Tyson 2, one of the most talked about heavyweight championship fights. But, Benny, we got a fight going here right now with Tommy Kendall.
Tommy Kendall closes in right on the back bumper of Al Unser Jr.
Oh, taps him. Tommy Kendall taps him again. He's hit him about 4 times now. He's just pushing him. Terry Labonte comes down to see what's going on.
And guess what? We have onboard cameras back.
So now we pick up a little more power, but so does Tommy Kendall. Labonte comes down on the inside. We've got a fight on our hands here. At the front of the field, still Randy LaJoie, then Robbie Gordon, then Dale Jarrett. Al Unser Jr. with Tommy Kendall and Terry Labonte right behind him.
Can you imagine the emotions that Randy LaJoie is going through now, Paul? A chance to win an International Race of Champions race.
And Mark Martin already wrapping up his historic 3rd championship at this great battle going on, and he's got the best seat in the house to watch it. Can Randy LaJoie run to the end of this race and pick up his first IROC victory? At the same time, look at Jarrett working on Robbie Gordon. They are still in the fight for the lead.
And LaJoie would love to see Robbie Gordon and Dale Jarrett start battling for the 2nd spot. When they do that, he will drive away. Here comes Jarrett. Takes a look. Cannot close in.
Time and laps running out for Jarrett and Robbie Gordon. If they're going to catch and pass Randy LaJoie, doesn't seem to be possible now. But remember, in IROC, we have seen some incredible finishes. 2 different lines here.
And Jarrett comes up, gets a run, but Robbie Gordon moves up to block that move.
Al Unser Jr., the green car, closes in behind Jarrett. White flag comes out. 1 more lap to go. Can Randy LaJoie hold on? Again, the view from Mark Martin.
Mark Martin, the 1997 IROC champion. Robbie Gordon closes, just a couple of car lengths between he and LaJoie.
Oh, is Gordon going to take it away from Randy LaJoie at the line? It is possible. They head for turn 3. Gordon with Jarrett just behind him. Jarrett closing. They work turn 3. Jarrett closes a little more. Gordon closes on LaJoie. LaJoie's got to think about being defensive here. Here comes Al Unser Jr. too. And that's exactly what Randy LaJoie does. He drives it like a great veteran. Comes down, blocks the line, takes the win. Randy LaJoie, the IROC rookie from the Busch Series, has scored the victory. And Mark Martin has taken his 3rd IROC championship. A great year for Mark Martin.
Also, Paul, a great year for Randy LaJoie as Robbie Gordon drives up, congratulates him on his victory today.
So 4 strong races give us a new champion and a new winner in the IROC. IROC 21 is complete, and we'll be back to talk with the participants right after this. IROC 21 is complete at Michigan Speedway, and Mark Martin has made history with his third IROC championship.
Drink. Well, Mark Martin is the 1997 IROC champion, just like you did last year, Mark. You kept track of the points here in this final race and brought home the victory. Congratulations.
Well, I tell you, this is probably the single greatest accomplishment I've ever accomplished in my racing career. Only be topped by a Winston Cup win. I want to thank True Value, Pontiac, Goodyear, all the supporters here, Jay, IROC, for just letting me come and play with them, man. I tell you what, I didn't have much to work with here today. My car didn't handle great, so I just counted points.
And it paid off for Mark Martin. Here's the official results. Randy LaJoie, followed by Robbie Gordon and Dale Jarrett. Mark Martin came home in 8th place, but that was good enough for the championship. But how about the winner? Here's Jack Arute.
Well, Randy LaJoie, congratulations. First Busch Grand National driver ever to win an IROC race.
That's great. You know, to represent the Busch Series, IROC, to invite the Busch Series is awesome. You know, not only to the Busch Series, I mean, I like to represent all the short trackers across the country, because there's a lot of guys out there that deserve to be here. And, man, this is just awesome. I mean, you got to pinch me. I'm not sure if this is done yet.
When you were growing up in Norwalk, Connecticut, you watched IROC on television. In your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you would compete in one, let alone win one?
I've had a lot of wild dreams, I can tell you that. And IROC was one of them. And to be here in Victory Lane in an IROC race, this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So a very important moment for Randy LaJoie. Now, here are the final standings and the payout in the True Value Firebird IROC Series. $225,000 goes into Mark Martin's pocket. And there you look at the payout for the rest of this series, with Randy LaJoie coming in third in the point standings.
Not only was it a good day for Mark Martin, it was a good day for his NASCAR Winston Cup crew, because Mark Martin splits the $225,000 with his crew.
And already, the IROC begins to think about next year. What tracks? What will they do with these Pontiac Firebirds to make them even better? And who will the 12 be that will become part of IROC 22? We've seen a great year here with the International Race of Champions, one that has seen some great racing.
And rest assured that IROC 22 will be in Daytona in February with all new 1998 Firebirds.
It's been the day that history was made in the IROC. Randy LaJoie, his first win, also the first for a competitor from the Busch Series. And Mark Martin becomes the first ever to score 3 championships in IROC. See you next year in Daytona.